It's got a number. This beast has got a number. And it's the number of a man. And the number is 666. Has that got anything to do with Rome? Oh, yeah. Has it got anything to do with the apostasy and the man of sin who sits in the temple of God claiming that he is God? Oh, yeah. Now, when you have a look at the Greek and the Hebrew alphabet, let's go back here. The New Testament revelation was written in Greek. And it says here is wisdom, that him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. The beast, I want to give you a clue as to who this beast is. We're saying it's the fourth kingdom of Daniel. It's Rome. Well, it is. How do we know? It's got a number, and the number is 666. What does that mean? Well, do you know, in the Greek and the Hebrew alphabet, they've got numerical equivalents to the alphabet itself. In English, we've got alpha, the alphabet, and we've got numbers. They're both different, but not so in the Greek or in the Hebrew. In Greek and Hebrew, we have one set of characters that are both used for words and numbers. So when you write a word in Greek, the book of Revelation was written in Greek, when you write a word in Greek, it's got an equivalent mathematical value. The number of the beast is 666. This beast is Rome. Well, let's have a look at that. This beast is Rome. If you were a Greek and you wanted to identify Rome, you would call them the Latin man. Oh, they are the Latin-speaking man. That's Rome. And if I'm a Greek person, I would use the word in the Greek Latinos. And when I say in the Greek Latinos, I'm referring to the Latin-speaking man, the Roman man. Now there is Latinos, the Greek word, and there is its equivalent number, each letter. Lambda, alpha, tau, epsilon, all got equivalent numbers. So the Greek's expression to describe the Roman man, the Latin man, is Latinos, and that adds up to 666. This beast is known by the Greeks as Latinos, the Latin man. 666. Now, when you have a look at the mark of this Latin power, this apostasy, when you look at the mark, when Revelation was written, and here's the mark of this Latin man, this apostasy, this great Latin power that would be destroyed at the coming of Christ. It says there that this beast, this Latin power, this religious apostate system, would cause small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And you won't be able to buy, you won't be able to enter into commerce, you won't be able to associate with other people unless you've got this mark in your forehead and in your hand. What does that mean? Well, when Revelation was written, even before when Revelation was written, and way after Revelation was written, it was common practice for slaves, soldiers, and devotees to bear an imprint of those who claimed control over them. And the impression was generally in the forehead or the hand as a token of their servitude. In fact, slaves were styled litaris or literatus. It means lettered. So a slave would have their master's name lettered on their forehead as a symbol that they were under their master's control or their master's rule. And alluding to this custom, the book of Revelation predicted a religious system that would distinguish itself by a certain sign or mark as a symbol of their faith and their power over those whom they would impose upon them. Priests took upon themselves the vow of obedience, and they received in their hands. The priest would go and cross his hands, and to be ordinated, he would have the sign of the Holy Cross put in both of his hands by the priest who oversaw that. Children, when they're christened, or infants, when they're christened, the priest will take the holy water and put the Holy Cross on their forehead to show that they were dedicated and superintended over by this religious system. And devotees to Catholicism make the sign of the Holy Cross. And they do this with their fingers. They put 2 fingers out and 3 fingers down. And in the Catholic system, the 3 fingers that face downwards spoke of the Trinity. The 2 fingers above that were the types of Christ. He was both human and he was of God. He was God himself. And so when the Pope blesses you, or when you do the sign of the cross, it is in the name of the Father. and then in the name of the Son. And that across they go to the right shoulder and to the left shoulder. They cross themselves. That's the mark. And through, you do your research. You do the research of the history of the Roman Catholic Church, and any heretic that did not believe the Catholic system was that ordained by God, they had crosses placed around their neck, 2 of them, which were a different colour to their garments, and they sent these heretics with 2 crosses, different colour to their garments, into a Catholic-prone area, and all the Catholics would watch them, knowing the fact that they wore 2 crosses and they were branded as heretics, and the Catholics would watch them to make sure they didn't revert back to their heresy, which means they reverted back to not believing that the Catholic was the true religion. Even the Crusaders that went to murder in the name of God, ordained by the Catholics, the Crusaders went out. And do you know what the word crusade means? It comes from the French word which means to be signed by the cross. And they wore the cross on their tunics, and they had the cross, whether they were a Templar or Hospitaller, they went with their cross, the mark of the Holy Cross. And the Catholic, they're the only religion. Well, you do have Hinduism, who put a dot in their forehead as an expression of their devotion to their Hindu god. But the Catholic system, the religious system that broke away from the true teachings of Jesus Christ and became that great apostasy that Paul talked about in the 2nd Thessalonians, is the only system that has a mark. And if you didn't have that mark, you do your reading in history. If you did not have that mark associated with your devotion to the Roman Catholic Church, you were excommunicated from the church, and you were forbidden to sell, buy, even participate in anything to do with society. That is the mark of the beast. And that is the system who have powerfully corrupted the simple, beautiful teachings of the Lord Jesus Christ. God invites you and me to a challenge. We've only touched the surface of this topic. God says in Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 2, "It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honour of kings is to search out the matter." And the word